Movies like Spider-Man and Wolverine have represented a transformation from boy to man by giving these characters supernatural powers to conduct violence and save their damsel in distress. The question remains whether superhero movies have always followed this formula and how the golden age of Hollywood compares. When examining the movies in the 50s and the 60s, the historical definition of a superhero and masculinity have clearly changed over time. In Superman and Mole Men and Batman the movie, these characters' masculinity is defined by their leadership, as they have a sense of duty to their country and exhibit a thoughtful and cool demeanor. An important visual to keep in mind is how different superheroes of this time look compared to modern superheroes. When comparing Superman and Batman to their present counterparts, our old heroes aren't as athletic, and their suits aren't as tight compared to Batman and Superman now. Modern superheroes are now used for the audience's voyeuristic pleasure with bulging muscles and tight suits, as superheroes now are more like machines than humans. In Superman and the Mole Men, the story starts with Clark Kent and Lois Lane reporting the drilling of the world's largest oil well. The oil well drills into the home of the Mole Men, who are short humanoids who have come from the center of the earth. They soon come out from the drilling hole and wander around the town. The Mole Men erupt fear among the locals, and a mob forms in order to kill and hunt these aliens. Superman, on the other hand, argues that these creatures are harmless and shouldn't be killed just because they are different. These sentiments directly reflect the American political situation, as the film was released after World War II and the treatment of the Mole Men represent xenophobia. Superman even compares the mob to Nazis.
It didn't work. Now I'm going to give you one last chance to stop acting like Nazi stormtroopers.
Who are you to tell us what to do?
All I'm telling you is that that little creature in there has as much right to live as you do. Don't forget, you invaded his world.
This also shows how Superman's character is defined by his nationalism.
Superman, valiant defender of truth, justice, and the American way.
Unlike modern superhero movies, the focus of the film is not on action and the movie is very dialogue heavy. Superman's masculinity is defined by morality and righteousness. Instead of irrationally using violence to solve his problems, he exercises prudence by planning and discussing how to solve the issue with the Mole Men and the angry townspeople. The antagonist of the film is Luke Benson, a violent character who wants to kill the Mole Men. When Luke and Superman engage in argument, Luke tries to shoot at Superman, who calmly withstands the bullets and moves Luke out of the way. This represents the stoicism of Superman, which is similar to the character identity of Western heroes.
It's men like you that make it difficult for people to understand one another. You were warned nothing would come of this but trouble.
Overall, Superman's masculinity is defined by his patriotism and moral righteousness. Superman's strength resides in his calm control over the townspeople. Batman the movie starkly contrasts the serious tone that present superhero films have now. The film is filled with one-liners and the acting can be comedic at times.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
The film does show some scenes of violence, but they are short and mild. Audiences of this Batman will probably be horrified by the extreme violence and darkness of the Dark Knight. Like Superman, Batman exhibits a sense of duty to his country and works as a government appointee.
You are like the masked vigilantes in the westerns, no?
Certainly not. Batman and Robin are fully deputized agents of the law.
Support your police. That's our message.
Well said, Robin.
Many scenes show him working with the American government. Batman also shows to exhibit qualities of stoicism, and he is constantly calm. He also proves to use his intelligence more as he plans how to win against the villains and saves world leaders through science. Another important concept to note is the theme of homosexuality. The film alludes to a romantic relationship between Batman and Robin. In one scene, Alfred and Robin watch Bruce Wayne on his date through a camera in order to ensure that Bruce is safe. When Bruce starts kissing his date, Robin shows to be extremely uncomfortable, which could translate into jealousy.
I don't think it's right for us to listen into this, Alfred. I mean, some things have to be private, even for a crime fighter.
Scholars argue that the double life these two characters have is symbolized by their masked, colorful costumes, which they refuse to take off.
If you please, to take off the mask, to give the better picture.
Great Scott, Batman, take off his mask.
The woman must be mad.
If Robin and I were to remove our masks, the secret of our true identities would be revealed.
Completely destroying their value as ace crime fighters.
Sure, ma'am. Not even Commissioner Gordon and myself know who they really are.
In fact, our own relatives we live with don't know.
But your so curious costumes.
Don't be put off by them, ma'am. Under this garb, we're perfectly ordinary Americans.
When looking at the recent Batman film franchise, Robin is erased from the narrative, which speaks to the fact that hints of a homosexual relationship undermine Batman's masculinity. Another important aspect to discuss is the role of women in these two films. Lois Lane and Catwoman drive away from the classic damsel in distress trope. Lois Lane is a fast-talking, career-motivated reporter who often questions Clark Kent and even tries to defend the mole men against the townspeople. Although Lois is a stronger female character, she is still pushed aside and defended by Superman, and her character has no agency in the plotline itself.
Get inside and stay away from the front of the building.
Catwoman proves to be a cunning character who creates a plan to seduce and distract Bruce Wayne. At the same time, her main contribution is using her sexuality as Bruce's object of desire. She is still limited in the film as a woman, as she stands on the sidelines during fighting scenes and succumbs to typical feminine duties.
Catwoman, will you get a dustpan and put every one of them very carefully into separate vials?
In the end, both of these films show a strong reaction to American society post-World War II and during the Cold War, where women have learned to be more independent and men are no longer fighting on the front lines. Superman and Batman represent the pinnacle of manhood, as they are the protectors and leaders of societies who solve issues thoughtfully and calmly. For the male audience, they represent a fantasy of men who are exceptionally strong, but have deep control as they don't feel the need to constantly use their strength. Superiors are men who are the saviors and the moral compass of humanity.